you should think in actions. That made a lot of sense, especially for me. When I applied that, that actually helped me.
I can't say no to them. Then I go there and then I then feel guilt. Okay, I've had this. Why is it's difficult for us to actually set that healthy boundaries
Goes
with?
back to need to belong, because we have lived as a tribe and as a group from the early days of evolution. And if you stand out to say, oh, I don't want to do this, and then you are perceived as a troublemaker, and that is where you are conditioned from childhood to fit in. And I think that conditioning is even more so for women, especially for women coming from cultures like ours, from India or Asian and other cultures. We are not only conditioned, but that's the model we have had
Mm.
in our parents and in the society, where people or women show, like our mothers and aunts and sisters and everybody, what they have shown is how do they keep their family together, not burning bridges and then keeping everybody happy.
When you inhale and exhale, and when you inhale and hold it, the exhale time should be longer than your inhaling time. That's when it actually relaxes your body.
Putting myself out there in the morning sunlight, taking it through my eyes, and even putting my feet on the ground, directly touching Mother Earth, helps you to set your circadian rhythm and also your magnetic field, which all in turn helps with your sleep cycle. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Wellbeing in Me podcast, Inner Talk series. This is where my beautiful co host, Indu, and I, we are talking about various concepts and themes. And in today's episode, we are talking about how our mind plays a part in energy drains, and not just the mind but also body and our soul, which was really interesting. And we thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and this is what we are hoping you would also be able to do by listening to this episode, not just to enjoy but also take away the key bits. What are the things that are helping us, like as a middle-aged woman, same like you, we are also navigating life, trying different things, learning and implementing in our lives. And that's what we are sharing with you. So we really hope you will be able to change your life around listening to what is helping us. There has been some more thinking
Mm.
on the overthinking.
Right.
um, I just, learned from someone,
Mhm.
um, when you tend to overthink, because that's what we were discussing last week with, how we drain our energy by overthinking, indecisiveness, and lot of other qualities. Yeah. Um, so that's where when I heard from someone that you should think in actions,
Mm.
that made a lot of sense, especially for me. When I applied that, that actually helped me quite a bit, because you can, last week when we were talking about how you can keep thinking more, thinking that you will come up with some new solutions, and even to make a decision, like, is this the right decision? Should I go with option A or should I go with option B? Like that, you can keep on thinking.
Mm.
And I realized that not just deciding but immediately putting it in action,
Mm.
that actually helps with stopping that cycle.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm now, the week has been like, think in actions has been my mantra.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. As you were talking about this, that's so true, right? So, because we are constantly thinking without any action, that's lead us nowhere.
Hmm.
We are thinking that okay, we need to do this, we have to do this, or, and that's where I think overthinking creates one thing. It's the fear and anxiety. When we put that in action, we now know okay, it's not as much as we thought it's going to be challenging or fearful. But
Mm.
anxiety eventually you overcome because you're doing it. So they always say face the fear and do it anyway. So
Yeah.
thinking is like, in my experience, whenever I have thought about it over and over repeatedly, certain things that I need to, like, any challenges, it only makes me really feel fear about the things. And when I
Mm.
put that into action, you're like,
Mm.
is that's it. So why was I holding it? And the very interesting thing where I learned it actually is from the it's from the YouTube. I don't know whether you watched this from Will Smith. He talks about his own experience about how he was doing this skydiving. um, and that experience, like, it should be there in the YouTube, and probably you can watch it later as well. So he would say his experience, like how he was like fear and overthinking about, not overthinking, like thinking that this is what is going to happen, or how am I going to face this, and he didn't sleep the whole night. But then on that day they said, like, on the count of three we are going to push you, and of course there's going to be some expert behind him. But then what they did is, on the count of two, they actually pushed him, because on the three, they are going to grab hold on to something where they are not going to allow themselves to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what I said is not very similar to overthinking, but yes, overthinking, when you put in action, it makes a lot of sense for ourselves that,
Mm.
yeah, what I have been thinking is not what it reflects. Yeah.
Correct. That's what this person was also explaining. Like, I'm learning content creation from a teacher called Prathamesh, and that's where he was also saying, um, thinking like when we are overthinking, you are thinking in concepts and assumptions and fear, and it leads to all of that imagination. Like, this is what will happen, what if they do this, what if they say this, like that. We think about all possibilities there and overthink and then keep going. But rather, when you jump in to take action, uh, just face that person, talk to them, communicate what you are thinking, see whether you can solve that problem. And that was really valuable, because that's what I applied this week.
Nice.
Yeah. And that is where I was also able to set my boundaries, because when I was sharing last time, I was saying, like, boundary setting is hard, and it makes you feel nervous in your body, and all of that. Yeah. But that is because I realized that is because I haven't trained that muscle enough,
Mm,
and that is where my body feels overwhelmed, and like thinking of all possibilities, and the cortisol goes up, and it doesn't help me.
yeah.
But actual boundary setting was definitely empowering. Yeah, afterwards I could feel that. Yeah, definitely that was uh, like giving me a lot of strength,
Mm,
and that ability to say no to something, and to push back, and then say what I want clearly and articulate that well.
mm.
That gave a lot of strength. Definitely.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So,
Yeah.
boundary setting, it's something that we talk a lot, and even for kids, we tell them the healthy boundaries. What are the things, right? So, when you say boundary setting, like, is it the aspect of expressing yourself more, or is it about saying, okay, you're crossing your line, this is it, like, beyond this you shouldn't come? Or is it like, because people, when we talk about boundary setting, we think it's only the aspect of saying no, but it's more to boundary setting. It's not the art of just saying no. So I want to understand from your perspective, what and how do you how do you convey your boundary setting to others?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's not just saying no, it's more than that. But definitely saying no in a way where, like, even with the example I was talking about last time, yeah, where if I'm not liking someone being aggressive, or if they are not taking a nice approach, not even a nice approach, if they are not taking a normal approach, then that's what I voice out
Mm.
and say, okay, I don't want to collaborate if this is the way we are doing things. I don't want, I don't prefer like that. And why can't we do the same thing in a normal way? If you can't be nice or humorous, or, if you can't bring other qualities, let's do it in a normal way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that is definitely one part of it, but also expressing more of yourself, like who you are, what do you believe. All of those things are also indirectly boundary setting,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like because when we say this is not acceptable, this is acceptable, but extension of that becomes explaining what you believe in, what are your values,
Mm.
what's your thought process. I think definitely it extends beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just thinking like so for a woman, why is it often difficult for us to say or have a healthy boundary setting? Now, when we say boundary setting, it's not necessarily like communicating with others, even for your own setting standards for yourself. Like, say for instance, okay, I'm not going to with the health perspective, it could be like, okay, this is my standard, and if anything goes beyond this, it's crossing my boundaries, and I'm not going to allow it. Like, that could be like someone. I remember after, like, I think I've always been an person who has my dinner early. I had a fixed time, like 7:30 was my dinner time, like for so long from a childhood, and then changed because of the lifestyle and other things. But then I've come back to a place where I would not have my dinner after 6 p.m. So I'll finish my dinner before then. So when people call me for dinners, I say I would participate. Either I would say no for if it's just a dinner event, then I would say no, I'm not coming in because I'm not going to have dinner at 6. I mean after 6, and so I would tell them. But then before to come to that conclusion, I have often going gone into this. Okay, that's fine. Like I can't say no to them. Then I go there, and then I then feel guilt. Okay, I've had this because when with dinner, like it's not a planned homemade food, like you end up eating things which you thought you're not going to have it, and then it's kind of a thing. So with the health boundaries, like why is it's difficult for us to actually set that healthy boundaries, whether that's in terms of communicating with others or in terms of health aspect, um, and even in the workplace, how people sometimes they treat us, we take it because we think, okay, in the professional world we can't like go deeper into this and talk about my boundaries. That's going to backfire me, like especially with their manager or higher ups. Like we don't want to say that. Why do you think, Meena?
I think it is goes back to a need to belong,
Mm.
because we have lived as a tribe and as a group from the early days of evolution.
Mm.
And if you stand out to say, oh, I don't want to do this, and then you are perceived as a troublemaker, and that is where you are conditioned from childhood to fit in. And I think that conditioning is even more so for women,
Mm.
especially for women coming from cultures like ours, from India, or Asian and other cultures.
Yeah.
We are not only conditioned, but that's the model we have had
Mm.
in our parents and in the society. where people or women show, like our mothers and aunts and sisters and everybody, what they have shown is how do they keep their family together, how are they, they're delivering if work very well, not burning bridges and then keeping everybody happy. And so in every scenario, either it's workplace or home or social setting or whatever it is, then we are that's what we have been modeled, and that's what has been conditioned. So I think it's even more harder to set that. But then I think once we set that, and even there, that is where I also would like to add, do it in a nice way.
Mm.
You don't need to do it in an aggressive way, right? Do it in a nice way, saying, this is what I believe, and I want to eat my dinner early because that doesn't help with my digestive system. And people who are aligning with you will understand, people who don't, that is okay. So what's the big deal? And then people will eventually accept. They're thinking, okay, this is how you are. They will not call you for dinners, maybe they will call you for brunch or go for a walk or do something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think so.
so true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, once you start, and also I think when we have, I don't know whether you've experienced this. So there are times where I think, okay, this is what my boundaries, and I should let others know. And although we let them know, there are times where they can come back and ask the same thing or do the same thing, where one might think like I've already established my boundaries, but it's just for us, right? It is not registered yet for others, right? So I think constantly emphasizing and keeping up to that is our thing and not their responsibility. And that is also sometimes initially I felt like, why I have to repeat this? I've told them like already, and I felt like that, yeah. So I think we one need to be mindful when we are establishing a boundaries for ourselves. It's not that everybody are going to accept it and understand it in the very first place. Probably we may have to keep emphasizing until they completely understand this is what, and respect us for that boundaries. Then it's worth to get along with that person as well, like that's what I feel. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well said, Indu. I think it's also important for us to understand that, just because we have changed, we have made a decision, we are doing things in a certain way, everyone around us will get it along and understand that and start accepting that straight away. It is going to take time. So we have to just keep reinforcing it and, keep at it. So people will get it eventually.
Mm,
And once they know, okay, if they cannot take that for granted, and if they value that relationship, I think they will come around. Yeah, yeah, that has been the experience of the last week, I would say, where this overthinking and boundary setting, these two areas heavily played a part.
mm,
uh, and I felt like, okay, I am overcoming one more layer. I thought I have already done all this before. Yeah.
mm.
Sometimes when you think that, universe gives you a game, a level 5 challenge, but you have gone up to only level 4. And there are 5 more levels to go before you
Yeah, yeah.
win the game. So yeah, that was a very interesting learning, like, yeah, I enjoyed that.
So how did you internalize, like when you set the boundaries and when you put things into action and not just overthinking? How did you feel it? Like what was your reaction to it, or what's the rather reaction?
Yeah, like, I think because I had more clarity after our conversation last week, and also as usual, I turned back to my flowers and nature, right? Like, even when I look into this rose, which I have got here,
Mm,
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, and it is not it's not a flower with just beautiful rose, and it comes with thorns.
Mm,
Yeah, so to deter predators. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what it does. So even there, I was like picking up a lesson,
Mm.
thinking, uh, even for something blooming as that beautiful rose, it puts some boundaries there.
Yeah.
Yeah, even nature, teaches me that.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, there is nothing to be afraid of. That's a, and also it made me realize it's a courageous way of living.
Mm.
Yeah, rather than last week we talked about authentic way of living, but I think we have to add courage to that mix.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a courageous way of living where you are like going and setting it, and then not overreacting for it, and um, uh, even though you're understanding in your body how it feels initially, but
Mm.
later when you feel empowered, you feel good, and then your body settles down also because it is not used to it quite often, or
Yes.
maybe it is not used to that in that level 5 game, you know
Mm.
maybe it is used to it for up to level 4,
Yeah.
but not to the level which was required. Yeah.
Mm.
mm,
Very nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yes. Yes. So, is there anything else do you feel that in a in your world, like that's draining more energy, or is there any other aspect that you work towards, what can give you energy for you to then work on your daily activities, because yes, overthinking does drain. How do you compensate? Is it just with adding boundaries and taking actions, or do you do anything else to it?
uh, yeah, I think the topics we touched on are all mind matters, right?
Yeah.
Like mind and emotions, and it's related to that, either it's your mindset or your emotions, and so that's where it belongs. But then not necessarily it needs to be addressed only on the mind level.
Mm.
You can also address it on a body level,
Mm-hmm.
like even with deep breathing. When you breathe deep into your belly,
Yeah.
that relaxes your body and it activates your parasympathetic nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel regulated.
Yeah.
That is definitely energy giving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even going out to the nature and exposing myself to morning sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
that helps build energy.
Yeah.
And actually, when we talk about sunlight, the opposite of that is artificial light, and
Yeah.
all the light that we get exposed at night. So that is where I have bought this blue light blocking glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with working in a full-time IT job, and also doing a podcast and flower therapy and all of that. I'm in front of my computer quite a lot.
Mm.
Gadgets are all around me, so uh, protecting my eyes at night by wearing those blue light blocking glasses, that has helped conserve a lot of energy. Yeah, because that's also a energy drain. So how do I compensate for the blue light is by getting more sunlight.
Got it.
So that's another way. Yeah, I'm doing.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I think you touched base. One of the very important thing is to regulate the nervous system, which is important. And I think it's a very simple breathing exercise. Actually, relieves a lot of stress in your body. Like what I have, like there are many ways of breathing, in the sense box breathing. It's like, on a count of four, you inhale and then hold it for four, and then you exhale, and then so that's kind of 4 4 4. And then there's another way, they say it's 4 6 8, like you breathe in for four at the count of four, and then hold it for the count of six, and then you exhale it at the count of eight. The reason being, I was looking at why the numbers vary, and what I have found is they've said, like, when you inhale and exhale, and when you inhale and hold it, the exhale time should be longer than your inhaling time. That's when it actually relaxes your body.
Mhm.
So, and And so, like, I've been practicing that, like, okay, inhale and then I exhale more. That actually relaxes and then brings your focus back to your body. And that way you're like, okay, you feel like more connected, because what happens is, I think I've become more sensitive as I'm aging, understanding, like, how the body actually tends to react. When I'm stressed, like, I feel like I'm completely out of my body. Like, I feel so disconnected. So when I do this simple breathing thing, like, while you work or while you're doing other things, and because one can feel stress just because our thoughts are hitting somewhere, and where you feel like, you're into the danger, or there's no protective shield against, around you. You immediately feel the stress in your body and mind. And so, and whenever I do this simple breathing, I feel like, okay, I've got myself now. Like, I literally feel that, okay, I can see in the center of my chest, like, okay, it's calming. Now I can think more clearly. Okay, I bring to my sense thinking, okay, whatever I was thinking, it was just my thought taking me to different areas. But the reality is, I'm doing the work now, and there's no actual danger near me. So now let me think what I can do. And that has actually helped me solve many things. So I think sometimes I feel breathing, we are kind of underrating it. For women, we need to know that the simple breathing, like, even before you go into any other somatic ways of you regulating your body or your lifestyle, just doing the breathing alone, it's going to make you feel more stable and central. And then you can work on what you have to do, the next thing. So yeah, I do understand how nervous system actually works, and regulating it is really important.
Yeah. So, Indu, do you then, how do you do it during your day? Like, do you do it, do the deep breaths during your day, or do you have set times to do it? How do you do it?
No, I don't set any times as such. As I said, like, as in I feel my body is in stressed phase, I do this immediately. So that's
Immediately.
why you don't have to dedicate a time. But then there is a different version of it. They say when you do the box breathing at the beginning of your day, it regulates throughout the day.
Mm,
One has time, yes, you can do it. But if not, at least do when you're actually know that you're in the stress mode, uh,
mm,
right? At work time, like, your TL or your manager can ask you something which you would have felt like, that anything, like your colleague would have said something, or the work itself, like, okay, there could be a deadline, or there's something not technically working and you're mending with that. And these are the things out of our control, but what we can bring into our own control is through our breathing, that we can say, like, okay, I've got myself now. I have to think more clearly how to overcome this. So we are separating ourselves from the situation. So then we are able to do that. So I don't have a dedicated time. But yeah, it's as and when I require, I do it.
yeah. Talking about breathing, you reminded me of something, uh, which was which was very helpful with co-regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I learned this from another person, this technique where when you put your left hand on your heart and then the another hand on the other person's heart,
Mm,
and then breathe along with them.
right.
And when you do that, humans are built for regulating each other,
Mm,
and that actually helps us to uh, you know bring them to we get synchronized. That's what happens. Like, for example, what happened is with my mom, she had a severe autoimmune lung disease and she passed away uh, 2 years before. And during her last days, because she was on oxygen, and whenever we transferred oxygen or we moved her around or something like that happened, she was really getting stressed out, and we can immediately see, she used to wear this pulse oximeter in her finger, and we can immediately see her heart rate
Great.
skyrocketing. Her breath was going crazy, and she was really losing the oxygen, and she was really struggling. And that is when I always used to do with her, one hand on my heart, other hand on her heart, and then breathing along with her, telling her in a calm voice, breathe along with me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that actually regulated her, and within few minutes she will be back to her normal breathing,
Hmm.
and that was amazing to witness.
Beautiful.
It's in front of my eyes, because it worked every single time. Even the guys who came from the ambulance, who to take her to the hospital, we used to do this exercise before she was taken,
Hmm.
so she will feel not stressed about getting transferred from the bed to the uh, ambulance and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is with another human, but the same thing we can apply within ourselves also.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially if you want a physical reminder, a visual, then our hand on our left heart, and I mean, I said left hand on our heart and right hand on the belly,
Yeah.
and then breathing deeply,
Yeah.
taking some deep breaths, because your heart and your gut are highly connected, and to the womb is also highly connected. So that is where it helps with self-regulation. Um, yeah,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I have not heard about this co-regulation thing, but I can understand how deep it is. And doing that to with your mom, it's yeah. I could see that. So wow, that's really nice. Okay.
yeah. What else, Hindu? What else do you do? Like, if you are losing energy by strong emotions, or what else do you do? Like, when we talked about breathing and sunlight and artificial light, do you practice anything else like that?
For me, I need some physical movement. I don't know, for somewhere I'm wired like that. Like if I'm like really stressed or anything, like I need some movement. I was not this person before. I would not want to have any physical movement, but I think there's a shift in me. I'm not too sure what exactly it is, but yeah. So I go to the gym. I do what I have to do there, and usually they say it's like you're exhausted. Yes, physically maybe it might be tiring, but I would feel really clear in my headspace. That would actually anchor me for me to do, like, yeah, I can face anything, like, it just gives me that sort of belief in me, and that's something I do. Yes, I do have blue light glasses with
Okay.
me, which I do it, like, yeah, I do it every evening. I have it every other time. The thing that I have learned from the nature is, it's to, as I said, like, go for a walk, or do some physical movement. Um, I have learned qigong, but in a very basic level. But even still, that involves a lot of breath work into that, and then the slow movement, it just puts you into place. Like, you're not in this fast world. Like, even though you might be sitting, but your thoughts go, in a very random way. Like, it can go to any level, right? So, for to bring back that, for me, these are the things that I do. Well, when we say about the these things, what has actually helped me is to regulate not just our nervous system, but even with my sleep cycle
Oh,
as well. Because there were times where I was like, even though the sleep would come, like, we can naturally see that, your body is tired, you want to go to bed. But I have often, like, beat up that, like, in the sense, like, I would, like, extend myself, do some other things. I wouldn't go to bed on time. I was doing all these abnormal activities. Then it became like, okay, the cycle was really disrupted then, like, right? And now adapting to the routine, in the sense, doing some physical activity and using all these um, you know energy, that the blue light blockers, and sleeping on itself. On that note, I've also I've heard about Sadhguru talking about sleeping. Like, we all been told, like, women needs to have a longer hours of sleep than men, and it has to be somewhere between 8 to 9 hours of sleep, or somewhere around that time frame. But what he says is like, he sleeps only 3 to 4 hours, and I was like, how is that possible? Like, how is he? And at that, this particular thing, what I heard, it was very few years before. But now what I have realized is that is possible, because when someone is able to not just preserve their energy, they're able to generate energy in their daytime. Sleep is not really, I wouldn't say it's not important, but it needn't be that long hours, because I've seen women who sleeps 8 hours, but then they feel so drained in the morning.
Mm.
And then I realized it's not about the hours of sleep, it's the quality of the sleep. It's not the number of hours you sleep. Like, the more you sleep, the more fresh. That's not the concept. It's like
Mm.
how deep you're able to sleep and rest your body and mind is where
Mm.
your actual, you're restoring your vitality for the next day, right? So on that note, what I can now, I can relate to what Sadhguru was saying. Yes, it's not necessarily you have to sleep for 8 hours. Like, we see the time, and we are like, oh, it's not time yet, I need to have this much of time sleep, so we then go back. That is not really necessarily. If your body and mind is feel fresh, even with 3 to 4 hours, or even 5 to 6 hours, then that's your time that you need to sleep. Not necessarily you have to extend for the sake of sleeping. So
Correct.
yeah, that's something that I have learned, and I don't really look for that 6 to 8 hours sleep, but I'm like, I feel fresh. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Actually, when you talked about sleep, sunlight actually contributes to it, even breath. Yeah. So, getting exposed to this morning sunlight, because it has got infrared rays
Mm,
after sunrise, and when your eyes are taking it in, it sets your circadian rhythm,
mm,
which is the clock in our body,
yeah.
and that actually helps us to secrete the hormones and tell us, okay, this is now time to eat, digest, this is now time to sleep. Like that, it puts your body in a cycle,
Mm,
and that when that is aligned, automatically sleep also gets better.
mm,
Like maybe some 3 or 4 months before, because with our age, probably in the perimenopause stage, and what we are going through with hormonal level, I was really getting very disturbed with sleep. Like not sleeping properly. Not, I'm not also talking about 6 to 8 hours sleep or anything like that. But even to feel rested when I wake up,
mm,
that wasn't happening.
mm,
And then simply, putting myself out there in the morning sunlight, taking it through my eyes, and even putting my feet on the ground, directly touching Mother Earth, that helps you to set your circadian rhythm and also your magnetic field, which all in turn helps with your sleep cycle.
mm.
And despite doing all of that, even if I can't fall asleep, then deep breathing definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
that automatically relaxes your body and then you fall asleep. Yeah. Only trick part here is I have to take care of my overthinking mind. Otherwise, I can go in a loop. Doesn't matter if I have got sunlight in the morning or did the grounding or did the deep breathing.
Yeah.
Um,
That
but I
that's a
couldn't.
beautiful awareness as well, Meena, because I think that's very key, right? Like, what works for us and what is the block that we can face, although we are doing many healthy things. But
Yeah.
then, one can say, I'm not seeing the results. So it's not about you're not doing it right, but there are something that you need to be
Address
mindful
for
of.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think awareness is key, and what you've said is really that's really good. That's really good. So yeah, overthinking always the issue for me. I think what we are talking about in terms of energy giving and energy draining is, for so long I wouldn't. I think I'm okay with it in the sense of having sugar content food. So I mean, I think I was. I didn't realize this would have so much of impact in my health. But then I also realized, like, having, they say, like, I mean, again, it's not that something, sugar is not a topic that nobody knows about what impact it gives, but then the little habits of me changing. So I usually have the coffee in the morning with sugar, and I thought that's actually keeping me, active and smart and all that. But um, then I realized, then there's, I'm not too sure whether you've heard about this person as well. She calls herself as a glucose goddess. Her name is Jessie, I think. She talks about the sugar spikes, blood sugar spikes, and then one little alternation. So do not have sugar content in the morning. Just have savory food, and then you can have that little later. That actually changed a lot in my, so I don't have brain fogs, because when we have coffee with sugar, when I have it, I feel good initially, but then during the midday I would feel really drained. I
Mm.
realize this is what it's happening, right? And then what happens when I feel drained? Probably I'll go for another cup of coffee. So now I have changed and shifted this, and I've also stopped taking sugar, in the sense I go with this monk fruit sugar. That's actually helping me, and I don't have to add 2 or 3 spoons of sugar as I do for the normal one. So, and I also heard from another person, I forgot her name. She said, we all been fooled by saying to have different types of sugars as an alternatives, like whether you can have coconut sugar, palm sugar. Body doesn't need any sugar like extra added to our food. Like whatever in the natural way you have, the sugar in the food itself is enough. Like you don't have to have extra sugar. And so yeah, coming back to the sugar aspect, yes, that has actually helped me to then see the energy that I'm, whatever I have, like I'm able to use it in the optimum level, rather than having sugar food in the morning, especially coffee with sugar, that drains me like within two few hours of time. So that's
Mm.
what I've learned as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually haven't done much in the sugar space. Maybe because of two things. One is, in Ayurveda, they talk about six different tastes,
Mm-hmm.
and then sweet is one of them.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, it's not like it's a evil food or bad food, or it's not projected like that. And that is maybe that is how I look at it also. So that's one thing. And another one is, I consider myself. No, I was just saying the other day. It's not just one sweet tooth. It's
Mm.
multiple sweet teeth. Teeth. Yeah, so it's I think for my body type, my natural inclination was to have some sweet. It need not be sugar. It can be a natural form like honey or jaggery, which is the state before sugar, like before raw sugar. So there are various even in I don't know what's the English word, palm sugar. Yeah. So there are different which are used in a medicinal capacity also. So in that sense, I think I always thought well, maybe sugar in a balanced approach is not bad. A little bit, it comes down to the proportion. Like if we are eating a lot of protein and fiber and all of that, then a little bit of sugar. Actually, in India, they even after a meal they end it with a little bit of tiny bit of sugar that will enhance the digestion. They say that. So I don't know. Maybe it comes from the belief system and also having a lot of sweet teeth. I haven't tried this going on a sweet, a sugar deprivation kind of mode. But maybe I should try that as an experiment. Maybe I'll accept that challenge into one week. I'll go no sugar. Yeah. and see how my body
the
feels.
notion, no, let me probably rephrase it. The notion I was talking about, having sugar in the empty stomach actually drains your energy more than giving.
Oh,
You can have the whatever that you feel like you want to have, to relish some sweetness in the food, you can have it, but after the main food. So don't start your day with the
day
coffee
with
sugar at an empty stomach. That's the change that helped me, like. so
oh,
I so now what gives me more energy is just that alteration of not having sugar with coffee in the first day in an empty stomach. Rather, I have chia seeds with lime water and bit of flax seed powder. Um,
mm,
yeah, so that's actually helping me now,
mm,
more than I have the other way around. So then I do have coffee. It's not that I don't have it, or
mm,
the recommendation is not for people to have not to have sugar at all, but it's like in what order we have it.
mm.
As you mentioned from the Indian background, yes, when we have a feast, there is always a dessert
Yeah,
that we prepare,
sweet.
and we
Yeah,
look forward for that, right? And that
yeah,
they only serve it us after the meal, not before that. Like, of course, yes, in that banyan leaf they will have that, one can go and have it, but usually it's taken after the entire course of your food, and then you have that. That's my understanding. But what happened, because of the lifestyle, like, I don't know, I was more drawn towards dessert, and not the main food, and
yeah.
that's what I was trying to reverse in my
Towards that.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
that's
Understand what you're saying. Yeah, even sometimes I can go crazy and think, have dessert for breakfast, and then and even like I used to drink like a hot chocolate
hmm
with two sugars and cream on top and with a marshmallow on top. I'm like, my friends and colleagues who will go for a coffee with me will be like, what are you doing? That much of, I used to add, but I don't do that kind of crazy stuff anymore. But I'm not able to completely quit sugar as well. Maybe that's where I think I should still experiment for a week or something and see, does it feel differently in the body. And on that note, actually, I also feel very curious to talk to our glucose goddess lady.
yeah.
Maybe we should have her on our podcast sometime soon.
Yeah, sure, sure. You can always approach her. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep.
Mm,
Anything else you would want to add on?
mm, I think we have spoken about mind and body level. What are the things which drains our energy and what gives us energy? But for me personally, um knowing that we are not just a mind and a body, and that we are a soul,
Mm-hmm.
and that soul is energy and it's eternal. And knowing all this awareness gives me a lot of energy, because you are not just reduced to a physical body or to your thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and whatever your mindset and whatever goes on in your mind, but to take even more one step back, to think, you know, we are a soul, gives me a lot of energy. And actually, this realization also came with my mother passing away. Yeah, because when we were holding her hand and on her deathbed, and when she was leaving us, that question came up like, where did she go?
Mm-hmm.
And that set me on a journey to explore more about souls and why are we here? What are we supposed to do? Yeah, so that has been a very interesting journey. So I now do things which nurture my soul as well. I think when we talk about soul in the modern context, probably we refer to that as psyche or of someone or the personality, or like let's say I love flowers and the plants and the trees, and I dogs and animals, and if I have liking for certain things and certain things I'm not liking, if that is what makes me, where does that belong? Does it belong in my mind or a body? I think
Mm-hmm.
it belongs on the soul level.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting aspect to it as well. I haven't explored so much on the soul level yet. Yeah, it's a work in yeah, it's a work in progress. I think I need to get um, understanding, but that's interesting that what you have just shared, Mina. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we don't need to force on certain things. I think certain realizations will come to us uh, in our life journey. But then, for me, definitely thinking about us as souls and having a human experience flipped the script. It
Mm.
just completely changed how I view life
Mm-hmm.
and how other people are behaving or what I am doing and all of that. It gave a bigger context. And yeah, even that is where even when I do the grounding or get the sunlight, it is not just nature to which I'm connecting. It's me connecting to Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me connecting to the sky. So it is more, it is more, even to the sun. So to the sun god. When I, do the morning sunlight, I, also have a prayer for the sun, because without sun, there is no life on the planet.
Yeah.
And that's the primary source of energy. So that is where when you look at it like that, then you realize your potential, like what are all the things that I can do as a soul. What am I here to do? I think it gives a bigger meaning and purpose in life. That's how it panned out for me anyway. And this was also very slowly understanding this journey.
Mm.
Yeah, so maybe we should talk about it another time.
Definitely, definitely. It would be interesting for me to know more on this soul level aspect as well. So, yeah, great, great.
Sure.
Great. So I think we have touched base many interesting aspects today as well, Meena. It was lovely chatting. So definitely, overthinking is not something that you would be focusing on going forward, I guess. But as long as it doesn't becomes a second nature, I think, and we are aware of what's happening within our mind and body, and with our emotions and other aspects, we should be able to balance ourselves really well. So that was great chatting once again in our inner talks. I believe we can come up with another discussion topic for our next episode as well.
Definitely, Indu. I thoroughly enjoy all these conversations. And yeah, today's talk was deep, not just on mind and body, but also, I was able to express about the soul side of things, which is amazing. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure we are going to have a fantastic, series going forward. So thank you so much. And I really take a lot of inspiration from you. Thank you for being there.
Same here, me, and I think it's mutual. So that's all nice. So yes, we can catch up next time. For the viewers who were watching our episode in our inner talks, do share your views and comments in the comments section, and do share this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any other topics that you think we can discuss about it, please do share about those topics as well. We can bring in more insights. Um, Thanks, everyone. We all see you all next time. Thank you.